Hello YouTube. Today's video is going to be on the Springfield Range Officer in 9mm. It's the traditional 1911 with a couple nicely added features. You get the aluminum trigger, you get the adjustable rear sight, which is awesome on the 1911 or any gun really, but that's actually a pretty nice adjustable rear there. Get your beaver tail here, which helps out. You get your little extended safety, so you can, when you grip the gun, you're more sure to depress the safety and not have the gun hang up on you and not fire. So that's pretty nice, although I don't like grip safeties in general. Works out pretty well. The Springfield Range Officer 9mm also has this Skeletonize Hammer, which is kind of an aesthetic feature, really doesn't serve a purpose. But it's nice anyways. You get the 9mm, you know, I think they call it a match barrel. It does have a thicker wall. It almost makes it like a bull barrel. It adds weight to the pistol, so that's pretty cool. The trigger, roughly, I guess in the 3.5 pound, 4 pound range. It's not extremely light. I assume someday maybe I'll do some trigger work on it. I haven't really messed with it, but out of the box it's okay, and over time it kind of cleans itself up. It doesn't get much lighter, but it does seem to clean itself up a little better over time, or the amount I've shot it. On the other side here, you've got Springfield Armory logo, the roll mark. Looks pretty good. It's not too overdone. It's kind of what they've went with for a long time. Pretty simple look to it. Nice pistol anyway. Springfield, if I remember correctly, has their frames forged in Brazil as well as their slides. I'm not sure on their barrels. I don't know if their barrels are forged. Somebody could maybe chime in or comment on that one. It does come with a nice pair of wooden grips that you can see that I glued step tape to. So, yeah, I know it looks kind of cringe-worthy, but it works pretty well when you're shooting a match. And switching gears here a little bit, going into why I chose 9mm. In USPSA single stack division, you can choose 45, or your typical calibers in single stack can be 45, 40, or 9mm. In 45 and 40, you're restricted to 8 shots. They are major power factor shots, which means you get 1 point extra or more than a minor power factor, which is 9mm. But you only get 8 shots. In 9, you get 10 shots in your magazine. So that's kind of the rule. It kind of, some say it evens out. You know, I don't know. I think major might still have a little bit of a advantage. However, if you're a guy who misses quite a bit and takes extra shots, which I do, I like having the 9mm advantage. There are some pretty good 10-round magazines on the market, and this is a Trip Research Cobra Mag 10-round magazine. It doesn't really stick out too far below the bottom of the gun, so you can see it doesn't look crazy or anything. But there's your 10-round mag. A little bit of a extension, but not much. Works out pretty well. So into the range officer and shooting competition, I did add some parts to the gun. As you can see up here on the top, to complement the adjustable rear sight, I put in a Dawson Precision front fiber sight, and that helps a lot when you're shooting outdoors for people to see. Some people like the black front, but I really don't. It doesn't, I can't see it, especially or acquire it fast. So there is a view of the fiber looking down the sights from the adjustable rear, and especially out in daylight, it lights up quite well. I added a Wilson, if I remember correctly. This is the Wilson extended magazine release that just essentially, you put your mag release in there, screw that hex down, and you've got this big tab. So people with shorter thumbs and shorter fingers on their, shorter digits on their hand, if you will, can reach that. And that thing works pretty well. I like it a lot. It looks terrible. I mean, it's not pleasing to the eye or anything, but it works really well. I've never dropped a mag unintentionally. It's a good product from Wilson, if I remember correctly. I also added a full-length guide rod. That does add some weight to the gun, to the front end. I'm not sure it really does anything functionally speaking, but I like it. And of course I added step tape to grip you know, to simulate a front, some grip on the front there. We got the step tape glued to the sides, and of course the rear. So when you're shooting a gun match out in the summer heat, you've got all this to help grip the gun so the gun doesn't slide in your hand. This works out pretty well. Some people think it looks terrible, and it probably does to them. But the step tape helps quite a bit. I've shot a good number of USPSA pistol matches over the years, over the last 6 seasons, probably 130 matches or something. And I like the grip tape. Works out pretty well. So as far as, oh, one other thing I forgot to mention, I did add the Smith & Alexander magazine well. You can kind of see some of the insertion marks there. So the gun gets shot, you know. These competition guns, you're going to shoot them, you're going to put a scratch on them here and there, maybe from using them, but it's not a big deal. Get used to it. Going into the Springfield a little more in depth, for competition, I put a lighter recoil spring in there. I think I forget what the factory setting is on the 9mm, but let's say 12 or 13, and I think this one is probably about a 9 or a 10-pound spring. It's not super light. I don't want to jeopardize reliability, but it is. It lightens it up, so maybe when that slide returns, you're not dipping the gun as much. I tuned the extractor from the factory. It worked okay. However, it needed a little help, maybe a little more tension, and that seemed to help extraction. But overall, the gun runs pretty well. I can't complain at all. Actually, it runs really well. So once you get it to kind of every place where you need it to be, they run really well. It's a well-built gun, forged slide, forged frame. The Springfield Armory RO is a little finicky on ammo. I'll say that. I found that out maybe the hard way. The chamber is probably a match chamber in the sense that it's very tight. You know, if there's a flaw in the case, beware. The rifling seems to start very early beyond the chamber itself. So if you have a bullet that is a hair on the, you know, over a 3.55 diameter, a 3.56, if it's maybe not set correctly in the case, or you know, maybe the diameter is off a little bit, it's going to catch a flawed bullet's going to catch in that rifling and potentially cause a malfunction before the gun can go fully back into battery. So if you buy one of these ROs and you want to shoot in a match, make sure the ammo you're either loading or the ammo you're going to use, your factory ammo, whatever one you choose, make sure it actually works in the gun. Don't find out at the match, right? You can, and the easy way you can do that is do the plunk and turn test. Take the barrel out, drop the round in, turn it with your fingers, make sure it seats, make sure it turns. And for every match round you do that, you can, you know, you kind of, it's an insurance policy to make sure that the rounds are going to chamber and cycle the gun. You're not going to, you know, find out with a big malfunction on the stage and then be like, you know, you lost the division or whatever. You know, don't find out the hard way is what I'm saying. So anyhow, I've shot this single stack pistol essentially in maybe 5 or 10 single stack matches. Actually done pretty well with it. Single stack's a fun division to shoot. It doesn't get much attention because a lot of the guys who want to shoot 1911s end up shooting your 2011 in limited division, the high capacity 1911, essentially modular version, or they'll shoot open, which is another, it's an optic division with a muzzle brake and a high capacity 1911, which is you know, your 2011 version. So a lot of your guys, you know, single stack kind of gets pushed to the wayside. There are some diehards that shoot single stack a lot. A lot of your older guys, for some reason, they seem to favor the 1911, and maybe they carry it, and then, you know, that's the gun they were always raised on, and they like to shoot single stack. But anyways, fun division. There's always going to be some competition at a match. There'll always be 3 or 4 or 5 single stack shooters. So it's a cool division to shoot. You know, it's kind of like, and shooting a 9mm in single stack, these things there's not much recoil to them. You know, like I said, I enjoy shooting the 9mm. So anyhow, going over the magazine I use in single stack, it's a Trip Cobra Research mag, or Trip Research Cobra mag, sorry. But they're a 10-round mag, and these have been actually flawless. These are really good magazines. They were kind of expensive. You're going to pay $30 to $40, closer to $40 in each one of these. And I recommend, if you're going to shoot single stack, I would get 7. You want 5 on the belt, and you want one that's going to be used in the gun when you start the stage, and then have another for extra. So I always recommend 7 mags for like a production division or single stack division. If you're shooting 45 or 40, you might even throw in a couple more mags since you're restricted to 8 rounds. So there's the mags for single stack. Yeah, it's a little bit of money, but you know what, whatever. They work well. So there's that. Back to ammunition a little bit. Shooting, I usually shoot 115 Federal just because it's really cheap. It is a little on the hot side. It cycles fast, but it works well, and it chambers well on this range officer. No issues there. So you can always get the 115 Federal, which is American Eagle. There's a couple different brands, Blazer. Those are all Federal brands. So check it out if you want to cheat. I mean, you can go to Walmart and buy the ammo. It's always surefire, always works. Federal makes good stuff. But that's kind of my single stack range officer rundown. It's a good gun right out of the box, essentially, to go shoot a match with. You can spend a couple $100 and you're ready. I think the magwell was 60, 70 bucks. I forget what it was exactly. I think I put I might have changed this mainspring housing, if I remember right, but it's been several years. So, and I don't shoot this gun a lot. I took it out for a Steel Challenge a couple weeks ago. Ran great. It was enjoyable to shoot. I liked it a lot. It draws really well. Of course, it's 1911, so it's very comfortable to shoot. Ran flawlessly. In fact, I haven't cleaned it yet. I probably need to do that pretty soon. But anyhow, Springfield range officer, good pistol, and 9mm. They do come with I know I'm jumping around a lot in this video, and you might not be able to see it in there, but there's a ramped barrel down in there. So when the 9mm, to make the travel up to the barrel, to the chamber, instead of it hitting like the frame like in your old school 45 1911, the barrel actually is a ramp that extends down into kind of a cavity in the frame. So it's more reliable. Your round feeds a lot more reliably than having to make a transition. So that's nice that they use that ramp barrel. Like I said, on these, it's the stock trigger. It's nothing to write home about. It's not great, but it's not bad. It could definitely use a trigger job, but it works well and it's reliable. I see guys, they get the ultimate trigger job, and then they're 2 matches later, oh, I got to send it back to the gunsmith. It's a hammer following, or it's just not reliable anymore. It's like they were chasing this 1.5 pound trigger thing that doesn't work. But good luck to them, whatever. Anyhow, this gun right now works really well. I enjoy shooting it, but I do enjoy shooting the other divisions. So this one kind of gets left behind sometimes. But they're, if you're thinking about shooting single stack, the range officer is a great option. They come in 45 as well, and I've actually considered getting a 45 to play with major. Single stack, maybe one day, maybe not. But if I come across a good deal on one, maybe I'll pick it up. But I think this RAM, when I bought it, it was a tad above 8. So, kind of expensive pistol, but it runs well. Can't complain. They're a pleasure to shoot. Like I said, I like it. So anyways, I'm gonna go over a little bit back into USPSA competition. The single stack rig, I got to get a better angle on that. I run the CR Speed pouches, and you can, as the CR Speed pouches come in, you take one of the little width adjusters inside, you flip it over. Each one comes with one of these, and you can run your mags. So there, you can fill that up with 5 mags, bullets pointing forward. They extend. It's real easy. Works out real well. Double alpha belt. These are the older CR Speed carriers. You can see a little Velcro on the backing there to help out so the belt doesn't sag. A little locking piece for the belt. And there is I forget the guy's name who made the hanger there for the holster. A guy named Matt, if I remember right. I forget his last name. There's the holster hanger. There is a, I want to say it's a Blade Tech women's hot pink 1911 holster that I painted black. I probably should have just left it hot pink. But anyways, you know, it's got the Macho Tactical Black Krylon finish or whatever there. So that works pretty well. In USPSA, you just want something that's gonna kind of hold the gun, gravity. So works out pretty well. And you draw the gun on the bead. Not much retention there. Sometimes people will draw the gun, or they'll lean over and the gun could fall out of the holster. There's not much retention though, but they do make retention holsters. Anyways, different subject. So if you got any comments or questions about shooting the Springfield RO in USPSA single stack, post them in the comments. Please like, subscribe. Sorry if I was a little long-winded, a little off point. I'm kind of tired, been sick for the last week and a half or so. Anyways, the gun's a pleasure to shoot. The gun is very accurate. When I first got it, I took it out and I, make it a clover leaf group at 3 or 4 yards. Not very far, but the gun will sit there and put bullets through the same hole over and over again. So it's a cool gun. If you're wanting one, go get one. Sure, there's more expensive guns out there, your custom shop guns and whatnot, and some are worth more money. And people pay more for that stuff, and that's great. But if you want to get into the sport for about $1,000, you get your gun, buy you some extra mags, Garmex mags too, get your double alpha belts, your speed mag carriers, and your Blade Tech holster. Come out to USPSA, shoot a match, figure out what works for you, and have a good time and improve your skills in gun handling and target shooting and shooting on a clock or whatever. So anyways, thanks for watching the video, and take care, and we'll see you again. Thank you.